Wee mama. Hello. All you beautiful human souls. Hey, it's me, ABSD, and welcome to the Inner Dialogue podcast. We are not here for perfection. We are here for growth. This is a space unveiled from filters, sitting in vulnerability. And today's episode is about being seen and being safe. And I feel so freaking lucky to be seen and safe. I feel so blessed and grateful to be seen and safe. I came home this weekend. I came home after this weekend from a women's retreat in the mountains, and this group of women just saw me and held me and heard me and allowed me to show up as me. And it was the greatest gift I could have ever asked for. And if any of you women who were there this past weekend are sitting in the space with me today, thank you. Thank you to every single one of you who just was you and in your authenticity and found me where I was in mine. And I'm just beyond grateful. I feel like I am in this really interesting place in my journey and walk of authenticity and embodiment, because I have really started to embody who I am and what I am and how I'm going to show up in the world. But that embodiment has not showed up in every space that I have showed up in. And when something I'm realizing on this journey is, as I am shifting in my identities, that shifting in each space that I'm in is sometimes difficult. And when I show up in a space for the first time and I'm like, yes, this is me, I'm going to embody all that I am, you don't know any different, which is a beautiful gift. But the spaces where I do know people and they've known me for whether it's a year or 2 years or 10 years or my whole life, showing up as something different than what they've known their whole lives, our whole relationship, has been something that I'm learning how to navigate. I'm also learning how to navigate being ABSD in spaces where I babysit and nanny, which is an interesting duality that I'm facing also, because being called ABSD is something that I feel like could be comfortable for parents, but is that something that I ask kids to call me? And I am navigating this right now actively in my life and learning how this looks in my reality, which is it's interesting. It's been an interesting space. I feel very seen and safe right now in my life, and I am grateful. I am beyond grateful. Going back to showing up in space and relearning how to introduce myself as something different, even just moving to this new home, which was 6 months ago now. Is it more? Maybe 7 months? We've lived here for 7 months. Holy fuck. But even myself 7 months ago, I wasn't introducing myself as ABSD. I was introducing myself as Alyssa. And I no longer introduce myself as Alyssa. I also no longer ask to be called that. And so do I go back in all of these spaces that I've introduced myself as Alyssa and have all of these conversations over and over again? And that's something I'm trying to figure out. Like, where's my boundary and what do I want? What am I comfortable with? Because I don't know the answer yet. And part of me thinks that I do want to make it clear to people that my preferred name is ABSD and that's what I want to be called. But if I make that statement and then they don't respect that, then how do I navigate that? There's just a lot here that I'm learning and asking questions and being curious about. And yeah, holy fuck. I'm going to do a whole episode about this, and this is not this episode. So I want to make that very clear. But I have been navigating my gender, and I have navigated it enough now that I am at a place where I have started to use they, them pronouns. And this past weekend in this women's retreat space, I went into it with saying, I am navigating my gender, and this is how I feel, and this is how I identify, and these are the pronouns that I would like to use in this space. And being in a women's space, it brought up a lot. It was interesting because the terms women and girls and were used a lot, and that didn't bother me. I was surprised that it didn't bother me. I was empowered by it because I still I'm so grateful that I was born a woman, and I'm so grateful my sex is female, and I don't want anything as I navigate my gender to change or take away from that, because that's a piece of me that I love so much. So it's been just a really interesting interesting time, truthfully. And I just feel so grateful because of the collective of women that I was surrounded with this past weekend, and the amount of love and just being able to show up and be myself and be so seen and heard and held and loved, and to be able to love so openly as this open vessel of love that I am was so stunning and beautiful. And I felt so grounded the whole weekend. The whole weekend, I was so grounded in myself and what I wanted and who I was. And it felt fucking empowering. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is me. And this is how I want to show up in the world. And translating that into my world is now what I'm navigating. And for example, today I babysat, and it's a new family, and I did not take the time to introduce myself as ABSD. I used the name Alyssa, and now I'm navigating also using different pronouns now. And so it's like these two pieces of me that I don't want to create duality in my life are creating duality in my life, because I'm not taking a stance in it and choosing one way or the other. And it's like I have chose one way, but then now backtracking, even for people that I just met, like I just met these people, and it just felt easier and more comfortable to go by Alyssa, which is bullshit, because that's not what I'm all about. I am not about just sitting in the comfort and allowing that to be my reality. Things in life are sometimes uncomfortable, and I know and acknowledge that, and have to worm my way through the uncomfortability in order to get to where I want to be and go, and the way I want to live my life. And if people can't support and love me for all of me and all that I embody, then they're not supposed to be in my life. They don't need to have a front row seat in my life. They can sit in the auditorium. That's fine, but they just might be in the nosebleeds. And I'm okay with that, because I only have space for people who are going to be in my life to support me and challenge me in healthy ways, and who are going to see me and love me for who I am, rather than trying to change me or tell me that I'm wrong for the way that I am. So I just feel really seen. I just feel really safe in my body in a way that I didn't know you could be safe in your body. And I really want to take a whole episode and talk about my gender identity. And so I don't want to get fully into it in this space today. So definitely stay tuned for maybe the next episode or a couple episodes. I have a guest coming on this week, so it might be a couple episodes from now, but be looking forward to that, because I'm really looking forward to be able to sitting in this space and talking about my gender identity and how the process and transitions and the processing and the healing and the growth that went into it to be where I am today, and the learning and understanding and becoming safe in my body, all of that is going to be encompassed in that episode. So I look forward to it, and I hope you do too, because it's going to be badass. And it's such an important part of my embodiment. And if you're following along with the podcast, you know that embodiment is my word of the year. And I am fucking kicking ass at that this year, embodying myself, embodying all that I am. And let me tell you, it's a growth process, and I am growing through it and adjusting along the way. And there's a lot that I still want to embody that I'm not yet, and I acknowledge that. But I'm fucking proud of myself for all that I have embodied to be where I am today. Which, speaking of where I am today, it is March 26th. Happy birthday, Dad, at 4:41 p.m. And I'm fucking grateful. I'm so grateful. I just know how loved I am by myself, by the universe, by the collective. And I feel so lucky to be cultivating the relationships and nurturing this life that I have. And I'm so beyond abundantly blessed. And thank you, God, Angels, Universe. Thank you, Creator and Source. Thank you, Self, for continuing to do this work and to be on this path and to continue cultivating this newness into your life. Fuck yeah. I'm so proud of myself. So being safe, being seen and being safe. What does that mean? And how do I cultivate that in my life? You might be asking. I know I was curious of how to be seen and safe. And one of my favorite quotes is, be so authentically yourself that others feel safe to be so too. To be seen and safe starts within ourselves. And it's the constant acknowledgement, that's the first step, and acceptance of being able to acknowledge when you feel unsafe and ask yourself what is attached to that feeling of unsafety. Why am I feeling unsafe? Because underneath that feeling of not feeling safe is an underlying theme that you need to look further into. Being seen and being safe tie together, because when we're insecure or in our head or overthinking, we're not creating a safe space for ourselves. We're not creating a safe space for our mind, our body, our soul to live in. And that safety has to come within first. Because once we learn how to keep ourselves safe in our own body, then we can go into the world with boundaries and have boundaries for what we need and how to ask for that in whatever space we go into. Me going and sitting in this retreat space this weekend and saying that I want to use the pronouns they, them is a boundary. And it's also creating safety for myself in my body, but also creating a safe space for myself to be seen. Because when we create this safety within ourselves, we can then ask for safety from others. And if others aren't providing that safety, it's on you to remove yourself and to say, that was a boundary that I had, and I don't feel safe in this situation. I am going to physically remove myself from it so that I can go into another situation and be seen and safe there. And to go through that process might bring up some uncomfortability. I said might. It will bring up some uncomfortability. But it also is an indicator to yourself and to your space and to wherever you are that there is something that is not aligned within you that needs to be shifted in order to get to a place where you are aligned, which is awesome and healthy and productive, right? Like this uncomfortability is leading us to where we want to be. And moving through that uncomfortability takes courage. And let me tell you, my loves, you are courageous. You are so courageous. And I believe in you. I believe that you have the courage to move through the uncomfortability to get to a place where you can be seen and safe. I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in you. I know that you can do it because every single uncomfortable moment you've ever lived through, you've lived through them and you've made it through and you've been successful and you've come out on the other side. And I promise that you can come out on the other side of this too. Even if it brings you so much uncomfortability, even if things in your life or people in your life shift because of it, everything is always meant to be. We're always exactly where we're meant to be. So take it as an opportunity to be where you're meant to be. Becoming safe in my body has been a process. It's not something that happens overnight. How I describe everything inside of this world is it's a muscle that you're building. Every opportunity that we have to continue to mark our boundaries or do something that feels good for us or to create safety in our own bodies and mind is a muscle that you are practicing, that you are building. And the more that you build that muscle, the more that that muscle becomes defined. And as that muscle becomes defined, it becomes something that you just naturally use. But when you're defining a muscle, when you're building it, it's not something that you subconsciously go to immediately. And so you have to build it into your subconscious wiring so that it can be something that you refer to easily. And that's a process. Like everything good in life, that's a process. And I promise it's a process that's worth it because you're worth it. You are worthy. You are worthy of being seen. You are worthy of being safe. You are worthy of being safe in your body, in your mind. You are worthy and you are worth it. And no one can take that away from you because that's your fucking birthright. I promise. So I promise you that this is worth it because you are worth it and you are enough. And I love you so damn much. And you are loved so damn much. But holy fuck, it's uncomfortable. It can be so uncomfortable. And I don't want to sugarcoat that because it at times is so difficult and can bring up a lot of feelings inside of the body. And learning how to identify those feelings is a whole other process. And I did a podcast with a sweet friend, Paige, who works with people to help them identify the feelings in their bodies and help process through that. And that episode, I believe it's episode 38, The Universe is Conspiring in Your Favor. Go listen to that. She says some really awesome snippets about a lot of things. I haven't re-listened to the episode, if I'm being honest yet. It hasn't been edited. And I just remember the conversation and how profound all of it was, but she's a great resource. So go find her info from that show notes. I'll also put it in this so that you can find it, but she's awesome and is a great resource if you want to follow her on Instagram or also use her coaching. Her coaching was a blessing to me in my life and the session that I got to do, and also just learning from her and learning from the way that she integrates finding the experience and where it ties into the body and being able to release the processing and what am I trying to say? Release from that point of the body. Really cool work. So highly recommend. But now I'm on a whole different train of thought and don't know where I started. Wow, 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 wow. I am really just happy. I feel really happy today. I was babysitting this morning, and one of the boys in the house is 3 years old and has been diagnosed with autism. And we were sitting at lunch and he was eating and he was like, "Can we feel together?" And he would just name a feeling and we would both feel that feeling in our bodies. So what would that look like if we felt that way? And one of the feelings was angry and sad and happy and silly and bored. And to just sit there with this 3-year-old and feel together of what it would look like in our bodies if we felt that way was really, really cool. And to watch him practice that for his body so that he can identify, this is how I feel. It just made me realize of, yeah, I should be doing this more often in my life. Okay, how would it feel or how would it look on my body if I felt hurt or if I felt small or if I felt like I couldn't vocalize or if I felt joyful and large and bigger than the world? What would all of those feelings feel like in my body and how would they manifest in physical form? Profound. Kids are profound. They have such cool things to offer us and the world. And I don't know who he learned that from, but I learned it from a 3-year-old. So how fucking cool is that, you know? And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. I just got home from hanging out with my neighbor, awesome person, and she just went through an experience where she almost died from health things that happened to her. And it was divine intervention that she ended up in the hospital. And I, listening to her story and listening to all of the pain and uncomfortability and just how hard it was. It's like we as human beings go through things in life that are hard and that suck ass and that we need support and a village and people to help us through those times, to hold our hand or to bring us a meal or to just go to the grocery for us. And it makes me realize how important community is to me, which I already knew this about myself, but it's something that I want to cultivate even further. I have been saying for quite some time in therapy, it comes up pretty much every week about how I want to cultivate community in my life and be intentional about that and intentional about the people who are in my inner circle, because that's not something that I have in my life. And hearing her story and just how hard that was of living through this human experience and still living through it and having to adjust to everyday life and all of the different aspects that go into experiencing a near-death experience, it makes me realize how precious life is. And I want to cultivate that with people who I find precious, who I want to love on fully and who want to love on me fully and to see me and I can be seen and safe. And that's a gift. That is such a gift that we as human beings are hardwired to want that connection and that community. And I grew up in a religious home. That community was such an aspect of our lives because of the church community, and finding community outside of that has been something that I haven't known how to cultivate. And I'm starting to do that in my life in different ways and aspects. And it feels really, really fucking powerful and aligned with where I'm at and what I want and how I want my life to be. And it looks different than I ever imagined it would, but it's so fucking beautiful. And I'm grateful. I'm incredibly grateful. More than anything in the world, I want each and every one of you to feel safe in your bodies. I want you to feel loved in your body. I want you to feel seen in your body and for who you are and all you have to offer to this world, because you are a gift. You are a precious gift in this world and to the people in your lives and to the people that you reach every day. And You're a gift to me by sitting in this space with me and hanging out and listening to my inner dialogue, me rant and ramble about all of the things that are running through my brain. You're a gift. And I love you so dearly. Thanks for hanging out with me today. This has been a beautiful time. And as always, go out, take up space, love loudly, be your unique self, because the world needs you for you and all of the beauty that is attached to your soul. Did I say love loudly? I don't know. Love loudly. Go out. Be awesome. I love you. Bye.